Welcome back to MOVIEidol. So in this video, I want to talk about something that Norman Reedus said with EW today, in which he teased a huge twist coming in the season 9 finale. So what exactly is that? Well, I want to get into his comments. So before we jump in, I do got a warning for spoilers for episode 915 of The Walking Dead. Also, before we jump into this, I do want to actually say, a lot of people have been tweeting me this, and I don't really know if it necessarily means anything. I would like Angela Kang or anybody else to, comment on this. I don't know if they have commented on this, but if you actually take the first letter of all of the Pike victims and you rearrange it, it spells Art of Death. Now, I've tried to look to see if there's any kind of, any meaning behind this, and I just Googled Art of Death, and I've only come across books and all that. One book in particular just talks about Art of Death, I guess, being more of how you deal with loss and stuff like that. Or you could take the more literal meaning behind it, Art of Death, which is just like the way, I guess, you look at death, or the artfulness of death. And I do think the Whisperer Pikes thing, I mean, I guess the Whisperers would consider that art, but yeah, I don't know. It's kind of interesting. It's a little creepy. I don't know if that was intentional, but yeah, there you go. Norman Reedus, though, he had a lot to say, and I do want to get into his comments, and I should hear, this is just what he had to say. I will say, visually, the last episode is nothing like you've ever seen in The Walking Dead before. It's completely different. It was so fun to shoot. It's a different look 1000% in the end. It's a huge, visually explosive episode that's going to be visually stunning. There are some personalities at the very end that get wrapped up in a certain way, like you think a person's far to the left and they end up far to the right. We ended on a way that's kind of the great escape. It's not a wrap it all up in a bow episode. It's definitely a moving forward sort of vibe. It's just huge. So with the first part that he's talking about here, I mean, obviously he's talking about the fact that winter has arrived for The Walking Dead. Visually, yes, it does look stunning, but the part I really want to focus on is that last part where he says there are some personalities at the very end that get wrapped up in a certain way where you think a person is like this, but they end up like doing a complete 180 and they're just a totally different person, or their actions, or it's a personality trait. I don't know what he's getting at there. He's saying that something at the very end is just very huge, and I am wondering what this twist is. A lot of us for the last week have been talking about the possibility of Rick communicating with Eugene via radio. Now, I'm really starting to doubt that just because of what he says here. He says there are some personalities at the very end that get wrapped up in a certain way. Like, what does he mean by personalities? Does he just mean like people in general, or just literally personalities? Like, you think a person is a certain way, like we know Carol is this way, but maybe at the very end, she's just completely, maybe she kills Ezekiel. There were some rumors about his death or whatever, so maybe Carol just completely does a 180 and just goes like dark side Carol. Maybe that's a little too much, but I don't know what he's getting at with that. He says that it's definitely going to leave on a cliffhanger where you need to watch something, like you need to watch more. It's not like a wrap it up all in a bow episode. It's a moving forward sort of vibe, which I really, really like, because that's exactly what I said this season needed to be, or the season finale needed to be. It can't feel like yeah, you do need to wrap up certain things, but you need to have that moving forward vibe that just makes us all so hyped and so excited for season 10. So as for what this huge twist is going to be, I'm a little skeptical on the Rick Grimes thing, to be honest. I think there's a good chance of it happening. I think it makes sense for it to happen, but I think it all really comes down to, did Denai Guerrera and Angela Kang communicate about her departure before all of this stuff was written, before they filmed the season 9 finale? If they knew this was coming last October or whatever, did they plan her departure and do this Rick Radio thing in the finale? Like, it's hard to really say. And I know a lot of people are commenting on the fact that if you type in Andrew Lincoln and you look him up on IMDb, it says Rick Grimes, and then it also says /radio personality, which maybe you might think relates to Norman Reedus' comments that says there are some personalities at the very end, blah, blah, blah. What it actually says on IMDb about the radio personality thing is actually connected to season 5's mid-season premiere, which is related to Tyrese, in which Andrew Lincoln actually, I think it was Tyrese hearing something on a radio, or he was hearing some sort of broadcast, and it was Andrew Lincoln actually talking in just his normal voice. So that's what that's connected to. I've also seen some people comment stuff saying that, and if you type in Andrew Lincoln's final episode on The Walking Dead, that it says season 9, episode 16. The thing is, if you remove Andrew Lincoln, it still says the same thing. So I don't think that really clarifies or means anything. I want Rick to be on this radio more than anybody, but I just, I want to look more at the facts of this. Everything lines up otherwise if you just kind of look at what they could do to set up Michonne's departure, the whole 6-episode thing, and that he's only been in 5 so far this season, and Michonne somehow needs to transition, to the Rick movies and blah, blah, blah. There's a lot of evidence for this, but right now I don't really know what they're hinting at. And I mean, yeah, I guess we'll find out in like 4 days, I guess we'll find out. Anyways, push your thoughts down below. What do you think this huge twist is? Hope you guys all enjoyed the video, and thanks for watching.